Just look at the economic mess we're in, the inflation that we're dealing with, the crisis at the border. And we need President Trump in office on November 5th, and I'm going to help him, and we're going to work really hard to do what's right for the people right here in District 8.
Wisconsin's freshman Congressman Tony Wied shows just how much you can learn from football when preparing for the rough and tumble of public service. A self-made Main Street business success and longtime Green Bay Packer fan, Wied comes into office wielding two very powerful weapons: business smarts and common sense. Washington won't know what hit him. From Ballard Studios in West Hollywood, California, it's 13th and Park.
You and I can differ, but that doesn't mean you and I cannot be friends.
That often is missing in politics.
We went from North Korea to M&M. That's a lot, man.
Aliens could have invaded and nothing would surprise me at this point.
It's a nightmare.
Those are the facts.
We have to solve everything.
What's in this tea?
So, Congressman, great to have you on the show. It's interesting that to win your congressional seat, you had to do it not once, but twice in very short order because of the special election. Tell me what it was like, what you learned as a first-time candidate from being on the trail, what you heard from people, what inspired you.
Well, it's been an honor of a lifetime to be in this situation. I'm just a kid from a small town here in Northeast Wisconsin. I grew up here. I went to public and Catholic schools, and I got married right after college to the love of my life, Angela. We decided to get into business, and we wanted a lot of kids. So we had 4 kids within 5 years. That was the greatest joy of our life. And, being able to be in this situation, and I've just loved this country. I've always wanted to serve in some way, shape, or form. And when our previous congressman decided not to run in February of this year, I knew right then and there through a lot of prayer, I just kept asking God, what am I supposed to do? I knew that that was my sign. And it really has been a great journey. Feel very blessed. It's very difficult, a lot harder than I thought. A lot of negativity, a lot of political attacks in the primary was something that I didn't expect. But, I knew it was a possibility going against 2 formidable opponents in the primary that had been in politics for a long time. And to be in this situation and, of course, to win and now to be sworn in and serving in Congress.
Can you remember anything from the campaign trail that stood out? It's like one of those moments where you said, geez, I'm really glad I'm doing this. As much as you just said, it comes with the package, is a lot of pressure, criticism, et cetera. Both sides of the aisle, kind of go at it. Is there a takeaway from the trail you remember most that made you feel, hey, I'm really glad I'm doing this, and I'm doing this for all the right reasons?
I look at it as, look, I'm a leader and I'm in this role, I'm serving in this role, and my job is to deliver hope and deliver solutions for people and the problems that they're facing. And just knowing that people, they trust you, they want you to lead them and to do the right thing. And that's what I'm going to continue to do, is do the right thing for the people.
Do you still think there's a spirit of optimism about America that you kind of picked up on the trail?
Absolutely. And I think you hit it well. I think that's the right way to say it. I feel it. There's optimism, there's hope, and people want that. They want to be united. They want to come together. They need good, strong leadership. And that's why I said, look, in this campaign, I'm not going to be negative. I'm not going to trash people personally, even though they're going to do that to me. And I want to be that voice of optimism and positivity and enthusiasm. Look, let's get together. Let's move this country forward. We live in the greatest country in the world. Let's restore the American dream for people right here in this district.
As you know, small business is the backbone of the American economy. You represent Main Street business better than just about anyone I know. You build a successful business with gas and convenience stores. How do you think that experience is going to be valuable as you go into the United States Congress, where I think a lot of people would say we need leaders who are more business savvy, who can kind of understand what the bottom line means, what a paycheck means, and can make that a part of American policy moving forward?
Well, one, with owning a business and running it as the sole owner, you've got to be able to handle tough pressure, because if you don't make it work, you're going to go broke. The other thing that you learn in business is you have to bring people together. You have to bring them together. You have to communicate the mission, get everybody moving in the same direction, and let's achieve the goal. And you just translate that. It's all the same principles coming into Congress. You have to meet the 434 other members in the House and meet their teams and come together, right?
So you come from the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin is now become one of the ultimate swing states in American politics. Does that make you maybe more sensitive to and maybe better equipped to go to a United States Congress, which is still fairly divided by party, and be able to do what you just said, which is to bring people together?
Yes, it absolutely does. Because look, I mean, if you win an election, even if you win by 17%, you think about it, there's still over 40% of folks that voted for the other policies, right? Or the other person. So when you're in this situation like this, you're representing people that didn't vote for you, and when you're in Congress, there's a divide down that House floor. And Speaker Johnson gave us this suggestion here this week. He said, look, I encourage you to get to know people on the Democrat side, the Republican side, get to know their families. If they have children, get to know their names. I'll tell you what, you're less likely to hate them. And that's the way I am. We're going to argue and debate on the policies, and that's what we should do. But you don't hate each other. You got to come together on certain things that benefit the country and their district.
You are kind of the most senior of all freshmen coming in, right? Because you were sworn in after the special election. Do you think other freshman members are going to turn to you and say, hey, by the way, how does this work? And what have you learned so far, even though you're only a couple weeks on the job?
Well, the one thing you do get is you get first pick of offices. Right. So I didn't know that coming in. What I found here is that, we're here to help each other. And I'll tell you what, I've gotten a lot of help from, not only the people in our delegation here in Wisconsin, but others throughout in the House that have been very helpful to me.
Okay, so top 3 priorities.
The number one issue that I continue to hear throughout the campaign, and it is my biggest issue, is the economy. People are taking it on the chin right now with inflation, and we have to stop that. That comes from reckless spending. And I learned that in our business, you have to be prudent in making sure that you have a budget. And I think we need to unleash our energy dominance in this country. That will help. And I know President Trump's a big believer in that. I support President Trump, and that's a big issue. We need to secure our border. Ronald Reagan said it best. You cannot have a country without control of your border. That has to be sealed. I'm also a big proponent in peace around the world. We continue, in my lifetime, we've seen wars ravage. We see the instability right now in the Middle East and in Eastern Europe. We have to be strong as a country economically and militarily. We need to prevent these wars. We need to de-escalate and get back to peace and get back to business and prosperity.
Well, part of peace and prosperity abroad has to do with global competition. You've already signed on to your first House resolution measure about global competition. A lot of it is focused on China. Can you explain what is in that act and why it's so important that we get it right?
Well, we need to have free and fair trade, first of all. I mean, we need to be competitive. We need to win economically with China, making sure that we bring as many jobs as we can to this country. We need to look at things like dumping. We're seeing that in many of the industries in my district that are struggling with things where China is dumping and doing these practices that are very harmful to the employers and to the people that are growing our economy right now. So this is a leadership issue. This is something that we need to be as strong as we can be to make sure we're taking care of our country first. America first is the way to go.
President Trump endorsed your campaign. You describe a real friendship with him. How much will he influence what you're going to try to get accomplished in Congress and how you want to get that accomplished?
Well, having a strong leader, somebody that is decisive, somebody that is willing to do what it takes. Clearly, he's willing to do anything to save this country, to do what's right for this country first. Having that at the presidential level means the world. He has the common sense of, from the business sector, never had prior political experience. He's very good with relationships when you meet, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're Republican, whether you're an adversary around the world, a leader of a foreign country. He'll sit down and he'll have those conversations and build a relationship. Mm-hmm. And I think that is so important in government right now. You don't have to agree on policies, but President Trump has shown that we may not agree on anything, but we're still going to be friends. We're going to still know each other and build that strong relationship. It's so invaluable right now that he is in office. We have hope that this country is going to go in the right direction.
Yeah, because a lot of people for it seems to be a very long time have really been down the mouth about the system and institutions that are letting us down. Almost that begs change. And clearly, President Trump is all about that.
No one knows for sure how Washington and America are going to change come January 20th, but we do know that the Supreme Court's ruling earlier this year that grants presidents broad immunity makes Donald Trump among the most powerful and emboldened U.S. presidents ever to take office. Change, radical change perhaps, is coming.
Is that kind of drive for change kind of underneath a lot of the things that you want to try to achieve in Congress?
It is. That's why I'm here. Right now, we have serious problems, whether it's the economy, whether it's the border, safety, security, the constant divisiveness and screaming and hollering at each other. It's got to stop. We need to get back to pragmatism, get back to solving problems. And that's what's most important. And I agree with President Trump on that. He's very good on that. He delivered during his 4 years in office previously. And I know that this time it will be even better. He's putting together an amazing team that want to actually solve and root out the corruption and I think get more efficient. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay, well, I can't conclude this interview without asking the most important question, and that's about the Green Bay Packers. I mean, what they did against the San Francisco 49ers says the pack is back. What impact do the Packers continue to have, not just on the community, but on the entire state of Wisconsin?
It is a huge part of this community. I was over at the game yesterday. 2 of my 4 kids came home and went to the game. They're super fans like I am. But to this community, you know, we all own the community. Everyone kind of has a certificate or stock ownership. And that's the best part about it. We're a small community. We're blue collar. We're hardworking. And to have the Green Bay Packers be led so well and do so well is amazing.
So is there any lessons from football that you carry forth with you into Washington, D.C.? You talked about teamwork already that will maybe power not just what you're doing, but what could possibly power, you know, real change that far too often in the last couple of years seems to have been almost ground to a halt by partisanship.
You know, the biggest thing is in football, we all came together with different backgrounds. You know, whether people grew up maybe with more money or some people grew up poor, it didn't matter. We were part of our team and we all loved each other and came together and focused on the mission at hand. And to me, it's the same thing. You know, I think you have to have a love for each other. You have to come together. You can argue and you know, I think dispassionate debate is preferred, but that can't stop because that's what makes you stronger. You know, working and debating and all of those sorts of things. But you have to come together, know each other, and have a respect for each other. And that's what you have to do to have a winning football team. That's what you need in Congress as well. That's what I'm going to bring to the table, even if others aren't respectful to me.
Well, we wish you all the best as the most senior of the freshmen members of Congress, and that America should feel excited about the fact that after many years of trying to kind of defend the system from frustrations people have, that we're now moving to a place where we're going to kind of change the system and pray for the good.
Well, thank you. And thank you very much for having me today. I enjoyed it.
I did too. Take care of yourself.
All right. Take care. Thanks.